Hi everyone, this is Lauren Ashcraft and I am running for Congress in New York's 12th Congressional District. I am running against somebody who's been in office for 26 years, who takes a lot of money from corporate PACs, and who calls herself a progressive. I wholeheartedly disagree with the fact that she calls herself that, because the way that she serves her community is so different from the way that grassroots, people-powered representatives serve their community. And there's no better illustration of this than this video that I would love to show you and also make some commentary about throughout. So thank you for joining me today.
I want to ask you about another big story tonight. Amazon abruptly canceling plans to build. It would be a massive headquarters, right, in New York. People like your colleague Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez have been celebrating this, right? You've seen this from several progressives. She said today was the day a group of dedicated everyday New Yorkers defeated Amazon's corporate greed, its worker exploitation, and the power of the richest man in the world.
Amazing.
It's your district, not hers. How's that how you...
Exactly. It is her district, not Ocasio-Cortez's. And I wish that I had seen her fight for us.
You see it?
Absolutely. My constituents want jobs. I've
This
never
was 25,000 jobps.
20 minimum. It would have been many, many more. 25,000 jobs at 100.
Interesting. One of the questions that I wish my opponent had asked Amazon is, where are those 25,000 jobs coming from? Are you going to hire 25,000 people from my community, or are they going to bring 25,000 people to Long Island City, my neighborhood? And it turns out that they were more so planning on the latter.
50,000 a minimum for the job. Many entry-level jobs would have been many, many more. They were working with the community on job fairs and the other.
It's just so interesting because I am somebody who's really fighting for something called a federal jobs guarantee. And that is a policy that would work in tangent with state and local governments to find jobs that would really, really help to serve their communities and make them available, guarantee that they're available to people who need those jobs that would pay livable wages. And it sounds to me like Congresswoman Maloney would really support a federal jobs guarantee, but either doesn't know about it or just prefers that this kind of safety net comes from huge corporations, which we all know doesn't work because they don't keep their promises, like the fact that they were going to come here, but she seems more upset with the people who stood up against Amazon when she was supposed to be doing that.
Other types of entry-level jobs that they would have. There were promises for a new school, and having, as a former teacher, I was intrigued with their plans to have a curriculum in 30 different schools supported by...
Yikes. So she's a teacher, but thinks it's a good idea that Amazon and Jeff Bezos would have any kind of control over curriculum that students are forced to learn in our public schools. That is scary. That is scary to me. But I just don't follow it all. I want Amazon and all these corporations as far away from public school curriculum as possible, because I don't want to feed them the lies that I was taught in my education about if you work hard enough, you're going to become a billionaire. If you work hard enough, you're going to get rich. It's a lie, because people like Jeff Bezos have exploited workers and rigged the economy so that small businesses are forced to work with them for lower prices, because that's how this version of capitalism works. And it doesn't work for my community.
Amazon on high tech. We should be really diversifying our base of taxes, our base of businesses.
Interesting. I'll stop you right there, Congresswoman Maloney, because I don't know if you've checked to see how much in taxes Amazon has paid, but it's not very much.
Dependent on financial services, and it used to be that we would protest wars. Now we're protesting.
Ooh, I do protest war. I protest the wars that you voted to send people to. Okay? So yeah, we do protest wars.
Jobs, People are
What do you make of
complaining
this coming from
about jobs coming to your, this is the best.
People complain about jobs that Amazon brings to our community and forces us to participate in. I worked for the private sector because this is how you pay rent in New York's 12th congressional district, because our rent is skyrocketing and my federal representative isn't stepping in to make it more affordable. So forcing us to participate in low-paying jobs, and I really recommend that anyone type the words Amazon working conditions into Google and see what you find. Recently, someone was fired right after they staged a protest against their working conditions during COVID-19. And that kind of job, no, I'm so sorry. I don't really want to subject people in my community to that kind of work environment.
Let me tell you, if this had gone through, it would have made overnight New York City the high-tech capital of the East Coast. The most
Interesting. I don't know if she's talked with anyone who's lived in Silicon Valley, but the conditions in that kind of capitalist society is not exactly what I strive for in New York's 12th congressional district.
important job center for tech jobs. And as a former member of the city council, I have worked through several mayors and trying to figure out how to diversify our economy. We've been investing in high-tech schools. One's on my district, Cornell Tech, to train the next geniuses in tech.
It's just really upsetting that she just doesn't seem to know her community and who we are and what we stand for. There are so many talented people in New York's 12th congressional district, so many freelancers, gig workers, artists, and every opportunity that she's had to support the growth of our careers and to support our workers' rights. She just hasn't stepped in. There was a letter 57 Congress people signed recently demanding that the next relief bill for COVID-19 include protections for essential workers, and her name wasn't on it. Why? It almost seems as though she is fighting to protect her donors, which includes Amazon. Definitely check out Open Secrets, rather than us, her community.
Now we would have had a place for them to go to work. But Amazon.
But you don't, because the progressives in your own party, including people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who gets so much attention now.
She gets attention because she's the only person fighting for us when my representative should be fighting for me.
They stopped it.
Well, I'm a progressive too, but I'm pragmatic.
No, you don't get to do it both ways. You don't get to take money from Amazon and say that they're the best thing for our community and say that we really missed out on their opportunity because they didn't take our offer to take so much money in tax incentives that would have hurt all of us. You don't get to call yourself a progressive after you fight for Jeff Bezos instead of me.
If someone's going to bring a job to my district, to my city, and billions of dollars in tax revenue. You also had a story this week that we were $3 billion under projected.
I have a lot of issues with this statement, and I think about how she supported and voted for Fosta Sesta, which has made it very difficult for sex workers in our community and across this country to perform their work and do their jobs and make a living from their industry. And I think about how she's saying, oh, we should take any job that is offered and we should take Amazon's jobs. It's like you're not fighting for the jobs that already exist. You're fighting to make our system more reliant on really terrible capitalism, where you're fighting to make us even more reliant on the richest man on the planet.
Revenues for the state and roughly $1 billion under projected. This is the first quarter. We're $4 billion less than we usually get.
there are other ways to increase tax revenue, and this whole idea at the federal level of pay-go is bullshit, because you don't have to tax back $1 for every dollar spent. We don't do that anyway. It's just a way to make, centrist, conservative, fiscally conservative arguments about what you want and don't want. And our federal budget is just a list of our priorities, and clearly getting Amazon to come to Long Island City is a priority for Congresswoman Maloney. However, when it comes to fighting for us as a community, that hasn't been a priority for her.
And yet we're kicking out a company that would have been paid, they were projecting over 10 years roughly $27 billion in taxes.
Yo, let me stop you again right there. Again, I recommend that every single person watching this video Googles how much Amazon has paid in federal taxes. It's laughable. And I also just want to say, if you're talking on the state level, at the city level, one way that our leaders keep failing to raise revenue is by taxing the rich. Why don't they do that? They're afraid to lose their maxed out donations. But here I am fighting. I'm the person in my race that has the most small dollar donations because I am fighting for the working class person. I'm fighting for every single person in my district. And we are proud of our small dollar donations. And this is what it looks like to be fighting for working class people rather than Jeff Bezos, because you're not afraid to say we need to raise taxes on the rich if you're so concerned about revenue.
And not to mention the economic activity, the small businesses were thrilled because there would be more activity.
I'm just curious what small businesses she has spoken with, because I've talked with a lot of small businesses that have been really strongly harmed by Amazon's existence because they are forced to work with them. There's no way around working with Amazon if you are participating in e-commerce and have goods that you're trying to sell online. They have a monopoly. That is what Amazon is. That's how Jeff Bezos has gotten his billions of dollars, through monopolizing e-commerce and exploiting his workers. Definitely Google what it's like to work at Amazon. It's all out there.
I am disappointed. It used to be if you wanted to change something, you worked with the contract to change it. You didn't just
No,
kick
they
them out.
probably said they didn't talk to him.
Interesting. So are you mad at the protesters, Maloney? Or are you mad that Jeff Bezos backed out of his contract and his promise? It seems to me that you should be more mad with your huge corporate donor than you should be at us and at progressives, which you are not.
I know, they just said we don't want it, and they are demonstrating against it, and it's jobs. It's jobs. I've never seen anything like this.
Why don't you fight for the existing jobs and existing workers to have more rights? Why?
Most of the time, people are trying to figure out and spending most of their time trying to figure out how to bring jobs to New York and to keep them here.
Again, it's just an illustration